locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke Loves Rasslin.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
It's showtime.
God, you butcher Buffer, and now you're ruining Jimmy Lennon Jr. for the rest of us.
Listen,
Please stop.
I just made Jimmy Lennon Jr. more famous.
Oh, please.
In that one impersonation than he's ever been in his entire life. How about that?
At first it's wrestlers who are going to come in here and beat you up. Now the announcers and the ring announcers are going to. I can't wait to see that.
I'm working my way all around
You're
combat sports.
Cruising for a bruising, I believe, is what we call that.
Whatever, wise guy. Welcome back to Duke Loves Rasslin. I am the Duke. And yes, I do enjoy doing pro wrestler impersonations. I do enjoy doing ring announcer impersonations, boxing, MMA, you name it, the Duke will do them all. And I don't care what my illustrious co-host, the Boston bad boy, and Mike Pelosi says.
See, the difference between me and Mayweather is I'm not going to let you go 10 rounds of nonsense before I knock you out. I'm just going to take you to the mat every time because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Keep dreaming,
It's the right thing to do.
Keep dreaming, pal. Well, hey, you just announced it.
That's right.
Money Mayweather won the fight this past weekend, folks. The fight of the century.
If that's the fight of the century, I think we need a new century.
Oh, please. Give me a break. But the Boston bad boy is promising a special guest who's going to come on and break the fight down. I got to tell you, you did a good job last week there.
Goddamn right I did a good job.
You got to keep that going there. I mean,
were any of my predictions and were any of my guests incorrect about what happened and what unfolded Saturday night?
No,
exactly.
No.
That's
pretty good.
Were you incorrect about all your proselytations and everything else?
No, I knew what was going to happen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You didn't say that, though.
All right.
You didn't say that.
Okay.
Okay? You didn't say. You can't just come out here like a Sean Spicer and just change reality because you think that you didn't have Conor McGregor winning that fight.
Send all of your hate mail to Boston Bad Boy.
Yeah. Send all of your reality checks made out to cash to Duke at DukeLovesRasslin.com. Because you know what? You lost it. You lost the plot here. And the fact that you can't have any kind of real judgment on these real fights means you have no way of commenting on wrestling, professional wrestling.
Did you watch the fight?
No, I did not watch the fight.
Stop talking. What are the top 5 stories in the world of professional wrestling? We're going to find out later.
I don't care.
Plus, the Boston bad boy claims he has a new question for me. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
But before we get to any of that, Boston bad boy.
What?
The Iron Sheik and the rest of social media, by the way, they are not happy with Pastor Joel Osteen.
Yeah. And, boy, the Iron Sheik put out a nice little meme.
Yeah.
In which Joel Osteen. Not Austin.
No, Osteen.
Osteen.
Yes.
The O is a long O.
Sure.
Joel Osteen.
He was in the camel clutch.
He's in the camel clutch.
That's right.
And it kind of looks like Tim Allen in the camel clutch, oddly enough.
You did say
that. He kind of
earlier.
looked like, for a minute, and I read it, and I said, okay, that makes more sense.
Tool time.
Well,
Sure.
That's because Tim Allen's a kind of a right. It could have been either of them, I suppose.
That's a good point.
Could have been either
point. Well, folks,
what's the story?
Well, the head of the Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas.
Which you've seen on television.
Yep.
It's a church that
Mega
seats
church.
50,000 people or something?
Well, no, I think it's roughly
an old
17,000 seats, but they could fit probably more than 50,000 people.
Well, it's an old sports stadium. It's one of these crazy mega churches.
For church.
It's a mega church that you see on TV where they ask you for money and they send you prayers and you send in prayer napkins and things and they tell you all you got to do is pray for money and money will fall from the sky pretty much.
Well, Osteen tries to, he does his books and tapes and all that stuff. So the idea is he's finding a new approach to the same hustle, so to speak.
Well, right. His is sort of like the power of positive thinking.
Exactly.
It's all very gentle.
Yes.
It's all very beige.
Yes.
Everything is okay. All you have to do is just believe in the Lord and Savior and
buy my book.
And buy my book. Right. It always ends with buy my book.
Yeah.
And if I read my Bible correctly, Jesus threw all of the hustlers and gamblers and whatever out of the temple. They don't belong there.
That's right.
So meanwhile, this guy built a temple based on that.
It's pretty
So that's what I don't get. And I'm no expert Christian here, but I've read what I've read.
Oh, well. So folks in Houston, Texas, they were displaced as a result of Hurricane Harvey, which just real terrible. It's literally
unbelievable. Talk about biblical.
I know. Yeah, Noah, where is your ark?
The
largest hurricane.
Well, but also the highest rainfall in continental United States history.
Scary stuff. So, our hearts are out there for the folks in Houston. And we are praying for you. But Osteen spent his time tweeting messages instead of opening his church as a shelter for folks.
Unbelievable.
And they definitely needed a lot of shelters.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the space. If I had the space, I'm not a church. I'm not a pastor. If I had the space, what are you going to do? If you can't turn people away.
Well, here's the tough part.
And I'm an angry person.
Yeah,
I'm not a nice person, and I would open
my
doors.
I
would open my doors.
No,
I would open the doors to your house.
I wouldn't. Oh yeah, thanks.
First,
I'm going to call the police.
House.
I'm going to call the police. So the problem is, he claimed that the church was flooded in the. Well, he didn't claim the
church,
the
church organization.
Splitter.
Yes,
the organization claimed that
run
the
by
roads
whoever knows
were flooded and the church is flooded, and they even put out pictures of portions of the church being underwater, which is just ridiculous. Who knows if that was even real? But here's a problem: furniture store down the street, guy by the name of the Mattress Mac, opened his furniture store, and told people to come on in.
I get beds.
Kids jumping on the beds.
Yeah. Come in, dry off.
Saved lives.
There you go.
And then furniture stores all over the place
did the same.
It's the scale of a super Walmart saying that they can't open up, but meanwhile McDonald's opens up and lets people in.
Yeah, a little tiny storefront thing.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. So social media went off. The Iron Sheik went off.
Boy, he did. With such flair. In his usual. Although it's funny. It was pretty reserved for the Sheik, language-wise.
He didn't swear as
much.
Let me quote this here. The Joel Osteen, you lucky I didn't break your effing neck. You treat the Houston people with respect, or you are big-time jabroni. # Houston Strong.
Well, the use of jabroni,
yes,
can't go wrong there.
That's a big insult.
Well, I mean, it's the perfect insult for a guy like Osteen.
Yeah.
Because he's a jabroni. I mean, he's probably not an evil guy.
Yeah.
But he's a jabroni.
He's a jabroni.
He doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
That's what happens.
He's counting his money.
Sure.
Now, here's the thing, and this is the problem I've had with, say, institutions with a lot of money who say they're for the people. You get Joel, probably worth $1 billion.
Yeah, he's
whatever
rich.
that church or organization is worth. What's about the poverty? Didn't Jesus talk about the poverty? Didn't Jesus talk about giving it away to help the people of your community?
This was his chance to answer the call.
With the amount of money he had, he could have hired in, containers, call up anywhere, drive them in, do something.
He probably could have.
Never mind open the doors.
He could have built something to suck away all the water with all that money. I mean, come on.
It's like I always got the Catholic Church always bugged me with this as well. The Vatican is the source of so much wealth and priceless works of art that people would pay for. Auction it all off. There you go. Stop asking the working class to put $10 in their little coffers. Auction it off. Help the poor.
Well, listen.
Let's start there, and then we can all pitch in.
I will say this. Anytime there's been a natural disaster in the area, I reached out to Catholic Charities. They're always right on top of it.
Well, they've had hundreds of years of experience with this kind of thing.
They're always on top of it.
So they understand what bad PR is.
Joe Osteen could learn with
Well, exactly. I mean, the Catholics dealt with the Inquisition. That was not good press for them.
Sure.
And it still lingers in some circles.
Sure.
From what I understand.
And you know what's interesting in Houston? The mosques.
Yes.
They were all open.
Well, that's
taking people in, saving lives, right? And you have the Mexicans who live in the Houston area saving lives. Mexico sent people and resources to help out. Saving lives.
The thing, though, right? You're talking about if you're talking about actual well-established large denominations, you Catholics, I would even call Islam as sort of a denomination of the greater family of religions.
That's agreed.
That's what they do. I mean, that's what a church...
Save lives.
Save lives. Save spirits, save lives.
Sure.
Osteen's got the new hustle going. That's not where his headspace is. Because if he really wanted to just go, he would have just done his thing.
Yep.
And worked in that area. But he decides he wants to sell books.
So what happens? Iron Sheik threatens to put him in the camel clutch.
And you know what? I think we have friends down in Texas, and they should set up the ring for it and make it happen.
Well, Osteen opened up his church right after that.
Isn't that amazing?
So the talk is Iron Sheik threatened Joe Osteen and then Joel Osteen said, okay, I don't want any part of that. I'm going to do it. Sheiky baby. Sheiky baby runs wild.
Yeah, and you know what? He's making it happen.
That's it. That's the way to do it. See? So shout out to Iron Sheik for saving all those lives that Joel Osteen and Lakewood Church have housed in their church now because the guy blew it the first time by saying he wasn't going to open the church. You know? Once again, pro wrestling saves lives, bro.
Well, here's the question. Do they, this is a bad, let's talk about PR. This is a bad move for them.
Oh,
for a money-making venture.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. You're making cardboard boxes, and you get some kind of press like this. Not good for you.
Especially when you got all that.
Especially when you're selling salvation.
Oof.
And you're right. You're taxpayer supported essentially.
Yes.
Because you pay no taxes.
Yes.
So you don't pay into the community that you claim to represent.
But you're certainly taking.
You're certainly taking. And what are you providing?
Ooh.
What are you providing?
Ooh. Scary.
And the chance that you could actually show, again, you can't quantify what spiritual providing is. No one can put, that's different for everybody. But when you have a moment in history where you can see quantifiably you've provided something, that's when you decide to punt.
Whew.
That makes absolutely no sense to me.
Scary stuff. But once again, hearts out to the Houston folks, and thank you, Sheik. Run the ropes. It's time to run the ropes. I'd give the top 5 stories in the world of professional wrestling because the Boston bad boy, he needs to be educated.
I don't want to be educated. I'm talking about important world things. There was a big fight of the century allegedly.
Give me a break.
There's all this stuff going down in Texas here, and you're going to talk about wrestling?
I'm going to educate you.
I don't want to hear it.
Hit the bell. The Mae Young Classic is in full effect in the WWE Network, Boston Bad Boy. Okay? So literally, this is a tournament where they've taken the majority of the best women's wrestlers in the world.
Okay.
And they're all going to battle to see who's number one.
Really?
But the stakes are higher this year.
Is that really necessary in today's climate?
Yes.
Why?
Because you're providing a platform for these amazing wrestlers to be seen even more than they ever were ever
Why
in their
not
life.
just promote them during the actual shows when everybody's watching?
Well, I don't understand. You're giving them a showcase.
Yeah, but you're giving them a segregated showcase.
Oh, it's going to happen. So they're going to sign whoever they're going to sign and put them on the regular shows, sure. So everyone's been given permission to participate in the tournament, but not everyone is signed to the WWE exclusively.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, this is a give back sort of thing, be honest. It really is. It very similar to the CWC and even the British tournament that they did. The idea is we're going to give you an opportunity to be seen on our network, which is the biggest thing going, and then, either you sign with us or you don't.
Well, I don't. If they're so interested in this women's wrestlers, why don't they just put them in and put them on TV? We know that there are facts that they're not on TV as much as the WWE would like you to believe they're on TV.
Sure.
So why don't we just start there? Because they don't need to have a tournament to scout talent.
Why not?
They don't need to.
Well, I think you can do both.
I just don't think it. I think you're taking the long road to get there.
No. Tournaments build interest. Okay?
Really?
Yes, they do. That's a fact.
I'm not interested in this conversation. Never mind
I'm
the
not
tournament.
interested in your face, but here's the point. NXT champion Asuka, right? She relinquished the title because she's injured and she's moving on to the main roster. There's talk that the winner of this tournament is going to challenge for the championship, NXT championship. How awesome is that?
It's not. I don't know. I just find it anticlimactic. Actually,
Are you kidding me right now?
It's like, why are we still doing this whole gender thing? I don't get it. If we're supposed to have men and women, shouldn't we be working towards the best wrestler fighting the best wrestler, regardless of their gender?
If that's the case, Asuka's beating everybody on the roster.
Fine.
That's it.
Then
Done.
so be it.
Done.
That's
Roman
what they
Reigns,
don't want to happen.
Roman
though.
Reigns, Asuka,
they
break your face.
don't want that to happen.
Sure, I agree.
Because they know it could happen. Because a woman's going to be more determined.
Yep.
A woman's going to be faster.
Yep.
And going to have more style, quite
Absolutely.
frankly.
Yeah, well, we know that much.
And we all know that Vince doesn't like anybody, especially a woman, getting the last laugh. So that's why they're going to keep this whole 2 lines of stuff going. It's crazy.
Don't be disrespectful. Booker T misses Raw. Huh. The nerve of this guy, huh?
You know who else missed Raw?
Who?
Me.
Get out of here. Well, he had an excuse, unlike you.
My excuse is I have a life. I don't know what your excuse is.
Well, Booker T lives in Houston, and we just had the hurricane.
Sure.
So he opted to stay with his family
As
and
you
ride
should.
out the storm. But also, he's running for mayor next year.
Of Houston.
Yes.
He's running for mayor of Houston.
These wrestlers are very serious about running for office right now. Not even joking.
It's happened before.
Many times. So,
And some have been successful.
Yep. Yep. So this is the real deal.
Does he
now.
have actually any experience?
I don't know what that means.
Well, I'm wondering. I mean, does he? I guess you're right. You don't know what that means. But all right, let's take two examples of famous guys. Right? You've got your in Michigan. I completely blank.
Michael Moore. Who are you talking about?
No, the wrestler.
Oh, you're
Jesse
talking
the Body
about
Ventura.
Jesse Body Ventura. Sure.
So they have Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yeah.
Michigan, right?
Yeah.
And
He ran for mayor and won, and then he eventually ran for governor.
right. So
and
he
won.
worked his way. But before
he didn't
mayor,
have anything before mayor.
so he just based that on he built that momentum on
Sure.
his notoriety
Yep.
as a public person.
That's it.
And one would assume he did some homework to present something to the people, of
course.
other than I'm famous, which our current president did not. I'm sure, because Jesse the Body Ventura is a pretty well-spoken individual.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Whether or not you agree with his politics.
Sure.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's not a wrestler, but in a similar vein, went from mayor?
No, he went straight
to
to
governor.
Yeah.
And again, I would assume he researched.
So,
I don't
but
know.
what does that prove to you?
Well, it proves to me that they were both Republicans.
Who?
Jesse the Body Ventura
No,
and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
independent. Jesse was independent.
Okay, Arnold's a Republican.
Yep.
Well-known Republican, who has spoken out against Trump, by the way. You need a backing for guys like this. You need a big backing, again, from the party,
But
from
your celebrity
whatever.
is your back.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, mayor,
Okay.
mayor is a lot easier to win than governor because you're talking about one city versus an entire state.
Okay, all right, good point. But let me say, both Jesse Ventura and Arnold Schwarzenegger were actually in the same movie together.
Okay.
So they're both movie stars.
Sure.
And as well as being other things. Booker.
He's very well known in Houston. Be careful.
Okay.
Very well known.
That's fine.
Yep.
That's fine. But do you need to have a national, well-known notoriety that the story of you running picks
He
up
has
that
it.
kind of momentum?
He has it all.
Really?
I'm telling you, he has it all.
To
All
me,
of it.
he's not a top name guy.
According to you.
Yeah, that's right.
He was a former WCW world champion. So he's one of the few
What has he
black
done for me
wrestlers
lately?
in history to ever win that champion, to ever be a world champion.
Well, that's great. But I'm saying,
He was a kid who was in jail, and then he became one of the biggest wrestlers in the world.
a great story.
And he's a huge philanthropist in Houston.
Great story. Do enough people know it?
Yes, there. You
Okay.
got to keep in mind, we're talking about a mayor, so that's a community thing. It's very
But
small
Houston,
scale.
but that's a big city.
Big city, but it's still small scale when you think about
right.
it. You know, how many mayors can you name in the country?
I don't know.
Maybe a handful if you're
Right.
lucky. You know what I mean?
Right.
So their internal politics on that scale, it's a little
But it's
different.
not like Clint Eastwood becoming mayor of some Carmel,
Sure.
California. Oh, who gives a
Well,
it's a little tiny.
If the media wants to pick up on that, it's fine. But who's voting? Only the
But
people
right.
there.
But what I'm saying is Houston's a major metropolitan area.
Sure.
And I would assume it requires extensive credentials
Mm-hmm.
to run a city like that.
No, you just need to get elected. That's it.
That's sort of
You just have to be popular enough.
That's a fatalist view.
You just have to be popular enough to get elected. That's just the reality of the situation.
Shouldn't you have the know-how?
I think he does. I don't.
I didn't say him. I said shouldn't the person have the know-how?
No, you just need to get elected.
That's horrifying. It's
Yes.
absolutely horrifying.
Listen, Booker T, I'm glad that you stayed in Houston and take care of your family and to deal
Yes.
with this whole flood thing. And hey, good luck with your race, man. If you can win, do it.
I don't know. I don't know anymore. This whole celebrity thing that is in, I don't know the guy one way or the other. I don't care one way or the other.
Yeah.
It does, but the fact that I'm a celebrity, I'm going to run. I think we have to it has to stop.
Well, why? What's the requirement?
Well, the thing is, all right, because he's a celebrity,
Sure.
he's going to have automatically a built-in awareness versus the next guy in line who
Absolutely.
also wants to run and get that. What if the next guy actually is somebody who knows sort of what they're doing
Okay.
and would be, the right fit for the job, but doesn't have the necessary notoriety?
You know what the main idea of a job like that is? You have to be a good manager of people.
Okay.
That's it.
all right.
That's the number one skill that you have to be an effective elected official, especially when you're in charge of the whole operation.
Yeah.
You just got to know how to manage people. That's it.
Do you think he knows how to do that?
He's had numerous successful businesses, so he's at least proven that much.
All right. That's fine.
At least that much, and he's been under the wing of Vince McMahon, who's one of the most successful businessmen in the history of the country.
It fell into success. Let's not even get into Vince McMahon.
I'm just saying, though, here's a guy who has
Why does a guy like that want to get into politics? Someone famous.
Because
Why
he
does
wants to
somebody
help
famous?
his community.
So you believe that?
For him, yes.
For him, yes.
Not for everybody, but for him,
Well,
yes.
okay, that's the thing, because
Yep.
clearly not everybody.
I don't agree with his politics. So it's not like I'm giving him a full endorsement.
No,
I'm just saying here's a guy who, he's legitimate.
All right, I suppose. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me.
You know what, Booker T? Come on the Duke Loves Rasslin podcast, and in fact, whomever you're running against, they can come on too.
Yeah, we'll give equal time.
You haven't passed papers yet, so I know we don't have to do that, but we'll do it.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. You can let the world know why you're running for mayor and what makes you
And I want to
qualified.
know if he thinks that celebrity status is a good or bad thing for this whole elected official stuff.
That's fair. So the challenge has been set. Ric Flair posts a message. Can you believe it?
I did see this.
2 weeks ago, this guy, his organs failed.
Yeah, he was
All
on
right?
the edge.
Yes, he had surgery. They cut out a piece of his intestine, all kinds of crazy
He
stuff.
was medically induced coma.
Well, he finally posted a message today, and this is directly from Rick, and I quote, "Sometimes you get knocked down lower than you've been up to stand up taller than you ever were." Yeah, whatever that means.
That was the message?
Yes.
I thought there was some more to it. No, that was it.
That was it.
So was he talking about himself?
Yes, he got knocked down lower than he's ever been.
Ever
but he's
than
going
he's
to
ever
stand
stood.
up taller now.
He went down lower than he ever stood up.
Fine.
I mean, that's typical Rick.
Yes. There's
But,
always something to
There's
it.
always something. There's always another level to it.
That's right. That's
So,
right. I'm just happy, man.
No, I'm glad he's communicating and he's
Yeah.
sort of letting the public know, because, it's a long recovery from anything like that. So
That's my guy, man. That's
he
my
is
guy.
the man, and you know him. If he could, if in 6 months he could get back in the ring and start being crazy again, he'll be there.
Yeah, please.
So-
He's Ric Flair. You kidding me?
Can't
Please.
keep a man like that down.
Nate, welcome back, bro. This is a big one here. Oh, boy. Sexy Star shoots on Rosemary. So Sexy Star, she's in, AAA. She was in Lucha Underground.
Sexy Star is her gimmick.
Yeah, that's her name. She's very tough. She was the one who was going to quit wrestling and become a boxer. I guess she gave up on that.
She saw what happened to Conor
Yeah,
McGregor.
I know, right? We reported on that earlier this year. Well, during a match for AAA, she broke somebody's arm, Rosemary.
Okay.
Which is pretty ridiculous, by the way.
Well,
So
it's either
it's an accident or they did it on purpose.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't even say accident. Either it's poor training
Okay.
or it's on purpose.
So Sexy Star says that it's all work. But there's only one problem. Rosemary says it's not a work. Her arm is broken. Although they say that it's not a terrible break, but it's a break. And everyone close to her and everyone in wrestling has weighed in on this, and everyone's saying the same thing. Sexy Star, ban her from wrestling. What she did to this woman is so egregious that it's unacceptable. And they wanted to beat her up at the arena. Somebody had to literally escort her out because it was getting that bad. We're talking about the wrestlers. We're not talking about the fans here.
Right.
Because the fans didn't know what was going on. They thought it was all part of the
Now,
show.
was this something she was warned about? Does she have a history of this kind of
She has
stuff?
a history of being a difficult person to work with. Yes.
Okay.
And
yeah,
there's
but
a lot of heat
difficult
there.
was different than breaking somebody's arm.
I think this is
or
the first time
causing
she's gone
bodily
too
harm.
far. There was another girl who was in the match too, because it was a multi-women match, who literally they were fighting each other in the ring as well. So this is a thing. Now she's tough. Clearly, she broke the woman's arm right in the ring, like she could do it. But even WWE officials are saying, "Let me know if this is real, because if it is, then we're never going to hire that girl."
Really?
Yeah,
So here's the thing:
deal.
if it was an accident,
If it was an accident, that's different.
okay. But if it was an accident,
Yep.
it's an accident.
Totally
if it was,
different.
If it was someone who doesn't they're not up to snuff in their
Sure,
performance
that's
to
an
cause an
accident.
injury.
That's
an accident.
Sure. This
but
appears to be malicious.
well,
That's how everyone's taking it.
yeah, but you know what? You're talking about a fantasy world to begin with.
I don't know what
Who
that,
really
but that's
knows?
why you should be breaking
If
people's arm.
you and I are doing a work,
Yep.
and I'm going to say to you, okay, here's the bit. I'm gonna break your arm.
Yeah.
Here's the even better bit. We're doing a match. I accidentally injure you.
Yep.
But you're okay. You're not. It's not going to ruin your career. You're not somebody. You're
I
not
hope.
disabled from it.
I hope.
No, but we know that. Let's just say we know
All right.
that.
Yep.
I call you afterwards and go, "Holy shit, you all right? Yeah, I'm fine. Arm's broken, whatever." You know what we do? Tell them I did it on purpose. Let's make something out of it.
That would have made sense had it not been for everyone's reaction to it. These are
maybe they're all in
legitimate-
on it.
No, we're talking about people from different wrestling organizations, people who have nothing to do with these ladies. This is different. This is a legitimate. This person hurt this person on purpose, and we're pissed about it.
There's a certain irony here that Paige still has a job with the WWE.
Oh boy, you had to bring it there. Didn't
Well,
you?
right?
You know?
Is this what we're gonna? So we're gonna talk about this woman who broke an arm in the ring.
We've covered Paige on every turn.
Yeah.
So don't even try to act like we don't cover that on this show.
What I'm saying is, once again, I'm going to bring it up.
Wow.
That now you have somebody who now the WWE, let us know. We'll never hire her. Oh yes, let us know on hearsay evidence. Let us know. Meanwhile, they have the facts staring them in the face, and they don't want to do jack squat about it.
You know what? You bring up a good point.
You're
there.
right. Goddamn right. I bring up a good point.
Hey, don't go too far there, pal. But you bring up a good point.
I'm gonna that soundbite is now forever.
Oh boy!
Congratulations, you finally did it.
The number one story in the world of not only professional wrestling, but all of combat sports and entertainment. Floyd Money Mayweather defeats Conor McGregor.
Yeah, there's a big surprise.
That's right. Yep. Now, here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Floyd made 9 figures on that. Can you imagine? At least $100 million he made off that one fight. What would you do with $100 million?
What would I do?
What would you do?
I would never take punches to the head again after
Yeah,
that,
well,
for
that's
sure.
important, which he's not going to, by the way.
Well, all right. And then I would just disappear into a nice quiet life.
He is I think he's like the maybe 10th athlete to ever make $1 billion in earnings.
On a payout. Like, oh, you mean
In earnings.
in earnings total?
Yep.
Wow.
$1 billion in earnings.
Well, you do take a beating to get that money.
Sure.
And you do have to have a certain persona. I think that, but if a guy like that has such an outlandish persona, it would be easy to just and then disappear. You know what I mean? All you gotta do is drop that. No one expects it's you.
Well, he's too busy opening up a new line of strip clubs. Gentlemen's clubs, not strip clubs.
Sorry,
Excuse me. Gentlemen's clubs because
clubs,
it's not
please.
full nudity.
They're gentlemen.
And
only
then-
gentlemen go there.
First one is in Las Vegas, but he wants to franchise it out. And
How can you go wrong?
Everyone's going.
Listen, it's one of the oldest businesses in the world.
Sure.
So
Sure.
you can't go wrong with that. I mean, I personally wouldn't take my money invested in that, but I feel like he's a gentleman
Yes.
who enjoys that kind of entertainment.
Well,
on
why
his own
why
dime.
spend money when you can
make money?
Make money. So that was his point.
Well,
you know?
right, and
Yeah.
it's long, and there's no really way to, it's not like a bar. You're going to drink the profits.
Well,
You know,
they mark up the alcohol sales in
That's
those
right.
places anyway. So
But
that's where they're making real money.
I think that, if I was him, that's what I would do. That kind of money.
Well, hey, Money Mayweather, good job. And you say that we have an expert that we're going to talk to next
Yeah.
to delve into this even more.
Can I just say one thing?
What?
We talked about this that Mayweather is a rather unliked guy.
Yes.
He is just unliked in general. And I said, I believe that boxers, the champion boxers, the people who hold it and are the ones that other guys are thrown up against to see if they can knock him down, have sort of historically been the heel.
Yes.
They've been the bad guy. Ali famously,
Yep.
I'm the greatest there ever was.
That's right.
Just to get under your skin. And it's smart business because people who like you will watch you, and the chance of the majority of people who hate you will watch you even more closely.
Yep.
Because they're waiting for you to fall. Now, the trick to that is you have to be able to knock the other guy out.
Well, hey.
You have to be able to, right?
That's
I mean,
the
Ali
bread
would,
and butter.
Ali would just beat the crap out of guys. He
course.
could do it.
Of course.
No question there. He was the greatest. Mayweather, from what I understand, has been accused of being a bit of a dancer. He's always on the defense. He tries to string it along.
You know
He's
what?
too protective.
I'm going
He
to
just
say
kinda-
something that's going to upset the world here. Mayweather was a smarter fighter than Ali, but I think he learned from Ali.
Oh, sure.
Ali let you beat on him throughout the majority of the match. He would stay on the ropes and just let you punch
but he's a
yourself
huge
out.
guy.
He would let you punch.
That's right. Literally
punch
no
yourself
gas
out.
left.
Yep. And then once you did that, then he would beat you up.
Rain blows upon you unseen.
Mayweather doesn't let you hit him
Right.
for the most part.
But still the same
You're
idea.
going to punch yourself out. Yep. You're going to chase him around the ring,
Right.
and then once you get tired enough, he just beats
Pummels
you down.
you.
Until
In
the
a
ref starts.
flurry
Yeah.
of a flurry of shots.
Yep.
I believe was the quote.
That's it.
Flurry of hits.
And that's what happened. So
Yeah, so to all those haters out there, haha. To all those guys out there who think they can just jump from one sport to the other and claim a kingdom they don't deserve, haha, CM Punk, Conor McGregor. Funny, I was thinking, Conor McGregor, right? CM CM Punk, CM.
So that's it. You figured it out.
Two-
You cracked the case.
Two losers.
Give me a break.
Two losers who didn't know where their
So
bread was
disrespectful.
buttered, and they didn't just stick with what they had. They went and embarrassed
And
themselves.
guess what? They both made a lot of money doing
Oh,
it.
you know what?
So,
As
there
my
you go,
grandfather
pal.
said, I've never seen a hearse, a Brinks truck follow a hearse yet. You can't take it with you.
You've heard what I think. Now, what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm a jerk?
Yes.
Maybe something in between? Head over to Facebook. Head over to Twitter. Type in Duke Loves Rasslin and let me know. I can't stand when you say yes. Because I don't like
Jeez,
that.
You don't like the truth.
No, whatever.
You can't handle the truth.
Up next, Boston Bad Boys, a special guest.
This is Micah Madrid, the Texas Women's Champion, and you're listening to Duke Loves Rasslin.
This is Sean Reed with Pugilism Company. That's pugilismco.com. But please just call me Reed. I'm a boxing matchmaker. I'm a boxing writer. I'm a boxing artist. I'm a boxing nerd. I'm a father. I'm a husband. Certified mama's boy. I'm a youth basketball coach. And I'm arguably the coolest dude on the planet.
Wow. Now, see, Duke, this is why I bring people on the show like this. Did you hear those credentials? Did you hear that resume?
Impressive.
He's also a mama's boy. Did you kiss your mother today, Duke? I don't think you did.
I'm going to have to. Look at
Yeah,
this.
you're going to have
I'm
to go
telling you.
back.
Wow.
So welcome to the show, Sean, and we appreciate you coming on to straighten Duke out about the events of this past weekend, about the fight, and about how wrong he is about everything. Because, for the record, he called this fight incorrectly last week.
Oh, my God.
I called it correctly along with my friend Mike from down in Brockton, who runs the gym down there, Boxing Legend. We called it the right way. So please tell Duke why he's so wrong, because he's going to try and defend himself.
Well, first, again, please call me Reed. So, Duke, you picked McGregor to win, I'm guessing?
Listen, let me tell you something, Reed. There is no way on God's green earth that I would ever pick Conor McGregor to win that fight.
Except you did.
The only mistake that I made is that I said Floyd was going to win in 5 rounds, and he stretched it out to 10.
No, you said
All right.
that he was not going to win.
All right.
You said that McGregor was going to win it, and you went down in flames. Just admit it.
Man, I don't believe it.
I'll go to the tape. Reed, I'm going to go to the tape. I'm going to get the tape, but you just tell him why that was such an inane thing to do.
Well, let me preface my statements. All I said about boxing, I also love MMA. I just picked up on that sport maybe in the last 10 years. Conor McGregor, for a mixed martial artist, is a phenomenal boxer. We saw that for that sport, he has great hands. But when you're stepping into the ring with a guy who's been in and out the gym since he was like 4, I think he had his first competitive in-the-ring amateur fight at maybe 9. His father was a professional. Both of his uncles were professionals. His Uncle Roger was a former world champion. Floyd Mayweather was born and bred to do nothing else in this world or in his life but box.
It's in the blood.
It's in the blood. So on a high level, if you take a high-level boxer and put him into an octagon, he's going to get murdered.
Right.
Now, this fight was a little different because Floyd, he's 40 years old, hasn't fought in 2 years, and even at his best, he isn't the most physical boxer, if you know what I mean. He's not Mike Tyson. He's not getting in there, taking guys' heads off. Guys aren't shaking in their boots and urinating on themselves during the sit-down with Floyd. You know, so he's not that scary, mean ogre type fighter, but he's that skillful, outpoint you type of guy.
Sure.
So hold on, Reed. Why did it take Floyd Mayweather 10 rounds to dust off a guy who literally has never stepped into a boxing ring, at least since he's been a young child?
Floyd is he's not a power puncher. His record is now 50-0. I believe he only has 26 knockouts. That's including the KO of Conor. So we're not talking about a guy with lightning and thunder in his fists. He's more of a jab you. He'll keep you honest with his power, because you notice after a while Conor wasn't necessarily walking Floyd down. But the thing about it is Floyd went completely outside of what he normally does. Typically, he's the guy moving. He's the guy on the bicycle. He's jabbing. He's clinching you when you get close to him. I mean, I'm sure you guys saw the Pacquiao fight, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. So just Floyd's, just his tactics alone were completely different against Conor than they were against Pacquiao. Floyd was the one, for the most part, walking towards Conor with the high guard. He was willing to take pretty much anything Conor threw at him.
Now, early, Conor did catch him with a real nice counter left uppercut. I saw Conor land more jabs on Floyd than I've ever seen anyone else land. But part of that is because Floyd was so overtly aggressive for him, literally walking into the fire of Conor, just taking whatever Conor could throw at him.
So Conor threw like 70 punches, I believe it was, in the first 2 rounds alone against Floyd's under 20. Do you think that's a sound strategy if you're a guy who's stepping into the boxing ring for the very first time to come out in that sort of a flurry and expend all that energy so early on?
It's a terrible strategy, especially knowing Conor McGregor.
Exactly.
The thing about Conor, he just has suspect stamina. His stamina failed him a little bit in both fights with Nate Diaz. He's a guy that just struggles with stamina. So to shoot your load effectively that early, it wasn't smart. He was gambling on his ability to hurt Floyd because, I mean, they weighed in. Floyd weighed 149 and change. Conor was like 153. Conor was 170 plus on fight night. He was way bigger than Floyd, younger guy, bigger, stronger. So he was banking on his ability to hurt Floyd, and that it just didn't pan out.
What about all those illegal blows that Conor was throwing? I mean, he was doing hammer fists. He was punching Floyd in the back of the head. Should the referee had deducted some points because Conor was hitting Floyd with those illegal shots?
He probably should have, but I'm glad he didn't, and I'll tell you why. During the initial instructions the ref gave to both of them when they're centering, he spent his whole time looking at Conor. And me as a boxing guy, I'm like, bro, come on now. I mean, Floyd's in the fight also. Don't just look at Conor and make it seem like he kind of insinuated Conor had an uphill battle and the ref was going to look for reasons to penalize him. That was the thought that it gave me.
Don't play into that.
So that being said, I was glad to see that the ref wasn't just going out of his way to penalize him.
What about the stop? Do you feel that the ref stopped the match too soon? Because I know that was the number one thing Conor was talking about in the end, that he still was ready to fight and that the ref shouldn't have stepped in.
Well, if you watch the replay, you'll notice Conor, when the ref initially stopped the fight, you didn't see a complaint from Conor at all. It wasn't until he got back to his corner, he knew the fight was over, he got the towel off.
He remembered his own name. He had to figure that out first.
Right. But there was, usually in that situation, if the guy really still wants to fight and is able to fight, as soon as that ref jumps in, he's going to be like, hey, ref, hey, man, give me another chance. There was nothing from Conor in that regard. Nothing.
So I'm curious. A lot of people I've talked to, just casual folks, have this same opinion that Mayweather, being such a pro, knew how to work with his own energy, not to expel too much. He wanted to give everyone a good show. So he basically dangled the carrot in front of McGregor, took the beating for 10 rounds to earn his 9 figures, and then just pummeled him. And that because of that, because it was such a mismatch in some people's minds, it shouldn't have been a sanctioned fight. It shouldn't count for breaking the record. What do you think about that?
I had my issues with that. I've done some boxing matchmaking. I've never match made on that level with a Floyd Mayweather. But I've had more competitive fights on paper that the Texas Commission wouldn't sanction.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm a Las Vegas, if I'm a club show, lower level Las Vegas matchmaker, the next time that they decline a fight that I present, I'm going to be pissed. Like, hey man, you let arguably the best fighter, certainly the best fighter of this era, but arguably the best fighter ever, you let him fight a guy 0-0.
Right.
No, and we don't know his amateur background. We know nothing of what Conor's done in boxing, and you sanction that fight for 12 rounds. And here's another thing that a lot of people don't know: the glove issue. It's mandated in boxing. If you're fighting, the cutoff is 147. So if you're fighting at 148 pounds, if you're fighting at 147.5, you're supposed to use 10-ounce gloves. But because of the hype of this fight, and they're trying to penalize Conor. He's used to wearing 4-ounce fingerless gloves. So Floyd was like, okay, well, we can go down to 8. And then the commission went ahead and they went along with it. It all boiled down to money. The commission made enough money off of this that they ignored everything that they would normally use as criteria to pit one fighter against another.
Well, in my mind,
It shows me they have a price.
well, yeah, and right, and in my mind, that says this is an exhibition. This is not a fight that counts for record books.
I would have no problem with an asterisk because, Rocky Marciano, most people don't know about him. They just know he was the undefeated guy from Brockton, Mass. He didn't fight. He didn't have any luxury fights like this one. He didn't have any layups.
Right, exactly.
That's right.
He didn't have any. So if I'm his family, I'm kind of ticked off that Floyd broke his record with an opponent as such.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that there, Reed, because we had Mike Cappiello, who is Rocky Marciano's cousin, and he's a former featherweight champ. He was on the show last week, and he predicted Floyd would win. But you bring up a very good point. This whole concept of this UFC fighter being the person to break Rock's record. You're right. This is
silly. And I know this is going to be really trite. This is Rocky IV. Make it a spectacle. Bring in the Russian guy to break the It's not real. It's not reality. It plays more like a movie. And like you said, especially if they're not going to adhere to their very own rules, what is the driving force here? Is it the sport? Is it the history of the sport? Is it the integrity of the sport? Or is it the buck?
It's everything you noted, integrity, history, that's all been defecated upon. It was definitely, and I get it. I ordered the fight. I enjoyed the fight. I like both guys. I had those same butterflies I get when it's a big competitive fight. I had those same exact butterflies. And for those first 2 rounds, I'm like, oh my God, is Conor really going to do this? So I was the fish on the hook that took the bait. While I'm complaining, I'm also part of the problem.
Well, what do you think about all the people on social media who have doubled down on Conor McGregor as a boxer? Well, he went the distance with the champion. He did this, he did that. Does that hold water? Or do they have to just let it go that this was just a one-off thing, a money grab, a spectacle?
To me, the only boxing match that would make sense for him to follow up with would be against Paulie Malignaggi, the guy who was in the sparring footage. Where, I don't know if you guys saw the footage where he
knocked him down. Yeah.
Maybe Paulie claims he was pushed. I think that fight would do big business. And if I'm UFC, I'd be scared because Conor only took this boxing match because he can't make the money he made fighting Floyd or in boxing. He can't make that money in mixed martial arts because their pay structure is such that the fighters make little to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, no. There isn't a belt holder at 147 or 154 or 160, any of the weight classes in Conor's realm. There's not one champion that he would beat or even go the distance with. Not one.
If you're advising Floyd Mayweather at this point, does he go for a rematch, or is this really it? Stay out of the boxing ring going forward.
He needs to. I think you mentioned earlier maybe Floyd was carrying him. I'm kind of in the middle. I've never seen Floyd miss so many punches. He's normally extremely accurate. He managed to land some right hands on Conor, but most of his work were the straight right hands to Conor's body. He couldn't land his left hook hardly at all, and I've never seen Floyd miss wildly as much as he did. He needs to definitely retire. And just like I said, Conor wouldn't beat any champion at 47 or 54 or 60. Neither would Floyd at this point.
Indeed, that's a strong take on that one there.
You know, we talk a lot about pro wrestling on this podcast. Don't ask me why, but I want to ask. Well, because Duke loves pro wrestling.
Hey, I love wrestling too, man. Nature boy.
That's right. That's my boy.
All right, so then you know about when a pro wrestler by the name of CM Punk entered the octagon.
Oh God, yeah.
And how badly that turned out. Do things like this? Do these kind of things help either of the sports involved? I mean, because when a guy comes from pro wrestling, right, and pro wrestling is built on a sports entertainment, these guys are tough, and they go into a UFC fight, which is known for getting people seriously injured, and he goes to become seriously injured. How does that help anybody?
I think we have to take it on a case-by-case basis. I mean, Brock Lesnar was the UFC heavyweight champion for a good bit of time. He was a successful mixed martial artist.
That's right.
But see, Brock Lesnar was also a All-American wrestler. He had a combative sports foundation. CM Punk said himself he wasn't a black belt in anything. He had never boxed. never wrestled. He was just kind of a tough guy who watched wrestling and learned some moves and was successful on the microphone in wrestling, which carried over to his matches. And all of a sudden, on a whim, in his like late 30s, he wanted to take up MMA. That fight was a joke. I believe he didn't even land a single punch. You know, he was outlanded like 18-0, which has never happened.
And he looked lost out there.
You'll land if a big bad guy runs up on you, you'll land one of those fearful punches, at least one.
Fearful punches.
Right. That's right.
You know how you go on the ball because he's on you, and you just kind of throw one of those little girl punches.
Sort of like a slap.
You know what? You could at least land one of those. Punk didn't even land one of those. And it's like, my God, how could you not land a single punch, and this guy was right there on you the entire time?
So as a result of CM Punk's involvement with that debacle, his wrestling career, which was his bread and butter, it's sort of shaky ground. He's not really doing much with it anymore. Do guys who come from the UFC to now boxing, because you know you're going to see more of this transition, do they risk losing all of it because they don't get put back into UFC fighting and they're not going to make it in boxing?
If it's championship level guys, like the current UFC heavyweight champion, Stipe Miocic, he's flirting with the idea of boxing. As long as you have credibility within MMA and UFC in particular to fall back on, then the impact will be negligible. Like, there's going to be no negative impact on Conor in MMA after this. Because no one, well, I guess except for Duke, no one else expects him to win. So.
This is just character assassination right now.
I love it.
Let me ask you one quick one before you go here, Reed, because this is character assassination. What's your take on John Bones Jones? Is this it for him with this negative test again for performance enhancement drugs?
Guys, I love Bones Jones. In fact, a couple weeks after the Cormier fight, I wrote an article on pugilismco.com for those that are interested. I wrote, John Jones, baddest man on the planet. And I mean, I poured my heart and soul into this. Like I told you, I'm just now getting into MMA. It's the first MMA article I ever wrote. John Jones, baddest man on the planet. And then a week later, I learned this. He's as creative as he is in the cage, as great as his resume is, as impressive as his accomplishments, youngest UFC champion ever, most consecutive wins, blah, blah, blah. His greatest gift to me is effing up. He's a world-class F-up. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah,
There's no other way to put it.
Champion F-up.
That
That's
reminds
good.
me of Duke somehow, too.
Give me a break.
Just
give me a break. Reed, if fans want to get in touch with you because they want to read your stuff, what's the best way they can reach you?
Best way to reach me is we're Pugilism Company. The website is pugilism, pugilismco.com.
And what if fighters want to train or even get promoted by you? How can they reach out to you?
Reach out to me on Facebook. I'm Sean Reed, SeanReed. And there's a picture of me at a podium looking like Martin Luther King or someone giving a speech. There's a few Sean Reeds. I'm the black guy standing at the podium.
Don't give Duke any ideas.
Hey, listen,
I don't need him behind a podium.
I know who Sean Reed is, and I'm going to say this. Sean Reed, even though you gave me a hard time, I did not pick Conor.
Yes,
because you're a fellow Cowboys fan, you're all right with me.
Oh, please. Here we go. Here we go.
Cowboys. Super Bowl.
That's right. Super Bowl.
What Super Bowl was that?
Hey, stay out of this.
Free Zeke Elliott.
That's right. That's right.
Pre-eclipse.
Yeah.
Sometime before the last eclipse.
Sean Reed, the next time there's a big fight, we'll definitely have you back on, brother. We appreciate you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good evening.
First of all, shout out to Reed. Great guy. Knows what he's talking about, which is always refreshing.
Especially talking to you.
Well,
someone who knows
you,
what they're talking
give me a
about
break.
is refreshing when you have to deal with someone like you.
Well, look, what I don't appreciate is when you have a guest come on and you try to embarrass me by lying. You lied on me.
No.
Okay?
I will go back and I will get the audio footage of you backing Conor McGregor in that last fight. I'll do it.
So here's how we'll settle this. All right? When you prove that you're a liar, I'm going to have one of my many wrestling henchmen or women
You have none.
to destroy you.
You have none.
They're going to destroy you.
A, you have none, and two, they wouldn't destroy me.
They will destroy you.
So you have
Trust
that's
me.
the most ridiculous bet
Trust me,
since
big
someone
man.
thinking that Conor McGregor was going to win that fight.
And that I never said that.
And to pull back the curtain a little bit on this show, You and I just recently spent about 20 minutes watching old highlight reels
Yeah.
of some really great historic fights and knockouts.
Sure.
Because we were talking about, and it was mentioned when we were just talking to Reed, that most of Mayweather's fights were not ended in big
No.
spectacular knockouts.
No.
That's the realm of a heavyweight type thing. So we watched little George Foreman. Boy, frightening.
Yes.
And the fact that they would have ended any of those, fights from the 80s, from the 90s, from the 70s,
Those are
sure.
those are 70s, 60s, 70s. Yeah.
They wouldn't allow that to happen.
No, you don't let a guy get beat up like that.
Right.
Not today.
There are guys in the corner
Yeah.
that they're being held up by punches.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Literally.
it's entertaining,
Yeah, but scary at the same
but
time.
scary at the same time when you go back and look at it.
George Foreman was a scary
And
dude.
the thought was, and I asked you, who is the big name in heavyweight level boxing right now? And there isn't any.
Doesn't
there?
exist.
And do you think that's because, sort of like with the NFL and this injury thing, that heavyweight boxing is too dangerous?
Well, UFC definitely pushed boxing out of the realm of the ultimate combat
Popular,
sport.
right?
That's just the reality of the
Sure.
situation.
Something new came along.
Yeah, something new came along. In which boxing? How long has boxing been around?
Well, it's funny. I feel like UFC rewards the faster, lighter fighter, whereas the best boxing is the heavy, big killers in there going at each other.
It depends on what you consider the best.
Muhammad Ali.
Okay.
There you go. Heavyweight. Beating the crap out of guys and then saying, come on.
But I'd rather watch Sugar Ray Leonard, who is smaller, faster, a lot more finesse, but not really necessarily brutalizing somebody like a Ali or Foreman or whomever.
My Nana was a big boxing fan.
Yep.
And every Friday night, she'd watch the Friday night fights, I guess. Well, I don't even know what. It was on Nesson maybe or something like that.
NBC.
NBC, yeah, right. It was late, 10 o'clock or whatever. And I remember when I was a little older, because we used to hang out there a lot, I'd watch it because it was they had the console TV,
Sure.
in the wooden with
Big
the
box.
big box TV where you turn the knob to change the channel. And I always thought it was incredibly boring as a kid because I didn't understand the scoring.
And you
of it.
still don't understand.
No, but I'm right. The thing is, I know how to pick a winner.
Oh.
That's why I know that I'm the better person on this show. I knew that Mayweather was going to win the fight.
What?
I know that Vince McMahon doesn't know what he's talking
Oh,
about.
my goodness.
I understand when a guy like Mike gives us his opinion, his boxing professional opinion, and says that McGregor's going to go down in a flurry of punches. I say, that's it. I know it.
Oh.
And you know what?
You know it.
I know it.
Mike Capiello tells you that.
Mike was right.
All right.
And I knew he was
Former
right.
world champion
That's
tells
right.
you that, but,
I knew
but you know it.
I knew he was right.
You're taking credit for Mike Capiello.
No, I'm taking credit for
Capiello
knowing he was
boxing,
right.
brothers
You
boxing.
didn't side with him. I did.
Of course I sided with him.
Baloney.
All right.
Baloney you
That's-
did.
You know,
Baloney.
Whatever. Up next, the Boston Bad Boy has more nonsense he's going to talk, and I might have to cut his mic soon tonight, folks. But before we get to any of that, bookprowrestlers.com, okay? You can find the top wrestlers in the world for all of your needs there. You want them to come to your church event. You want them to come to a birthday party. You want them to beat up the Boston Bad Boy.
I don't think
Go
they
to
do that. They don't do that.
ProWrestlers.com
That's not a thing.
and ask them to bring the Iron Sheik to make the Boston Bad Boy humble. Okay?
You know what? I would love to get that same picture that Iron Sheik has of him and Joel Osteen,
Yeah.
but have it be you in the picture.
That would never
And I want an
happen.
actual recreation. I want you to actually be in the camel
I'll
clutch
tap
show.
out before he even touches me. So
No,
there it is.
he's going to ignore that. This is an unsanctioned fight.
I don't like that. BookProWrestlers.com. See you at the matches.
Hey everybody, it's Nick Hausman from WrestleZone and Bischoff on Wrestling, and if you're looking for news you can use, news that'll leave a bruise from the world of pro wrestling, be sure to stay tuned to Duke Loves Rasslin.
Well, Boston Bad Boy, I do have to give you credit. You've brought some heavy hitters the last couple of weeks here.
That's right.
So, good job.
Well, I think that because I've eclipsed you as the person who knows what they're talking about on this show by bringing
go
in
again.
really good guests,
No.
by agreeing,
They
by,
know
by,
what they're talking
by knowing, right, by knowing who knows what they're talking
Right.
about and knowing who doesn't, which is you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I think that I'm kiboshing listener questions. I may be kiboshing them from here on out. I haven't decided yet.
Our listeners enjoy hearing themselves on our show, just so you know.
Not as much as you like hearing your own voice.
Oh,
Let me
okay.
tell you that. And my job is to counteract that so people actually enjoy listening to this show.
I don't think they enjoy listening to you, just so you know, pal.
Well, that's a problem because it's time for my question.
Oh, my Buddha, here we go.
Now, again, my weekly question is, why do I put myself through this?
Yeah.
Dealing with you.
Yeah, because I'm the best thing that happens to you every week.
So we talked last week about John Cena and his return to Raw and his calling out of Roman Reigns.
You know, I'm starting to like John Cena for that, though. I really appreciate the fact that he's calling out the no good Roman Reigns.
You like him just because you have the same taste in dungarees.
So, yeah, of course, dungarees.
So
again with the dungarees.
So Cena's trash talking him all over social media, and now he's face to face with your buddy, the Big Dog, the man who has carried the entire company while Cena's out filming horrible reality TV shows and movies that no one wants to watch.
Don't be disrespectful.
So now he shows up and he wants his little spotlight back. Why? Why do you? What makes him think he can just waltz back in with nothing to prove?
Well, John Cena is the face that runs the place. He's the man who, for over a decade now, he's worked on top. And he's earned the right to, as you say, waltz in wherever he wants.
Wait. Now, I know that Roman Reigns is your hypothetical, fake, fantasy-driven arch nemesis. But even you have to admit that he's been carrying the WWE this entire time while Cena's off playing actor.
Well, no, I'm not going to admit that because I don't think that's true. I think that Sasha Banks and Charlotte, AJ Styles, they've done a great job. But
it doesn't matter what you think because Roman has been the big dog, and that's a great nickname for him because I know it annoys you, during a period that the WWE, even as you have admitted, has made the most money that it's ever made. You're not going to give Brock Lesnar credit for that because he's never around. He's just a hired gun to show his big, round, bald head and try and lend some credence of real fighting to the WWE. This is the Roman Reigns show.
No, it's not the Roman Reigns show.
You know what? This is the Roman Reigns show
this
now.
Is not the, this is my show. This is not the Roman Reigns show
here
either.
We are now changing it. This is now the... No, but the WWE is the Roman Reigns show. Even though they don't know what the hell they're doing with the guy, he's been the guy that's been bringing in... He's been buttering the bread. So tell me why a guy like Vince, who loves nothing more than to make money, isn't going to let Roman Reigns make him some money.
Well, I think
and
that
give him some respect.
Roman Reigns,
that you won't give him.
Let's not forget that he failed a enhancement test.
Oh, here we go.
He went against the drug
and Paige
policy.
is a batterer. So you know what I mean? What are we going to do here?
All right, but I'm just saying though, Roman Reigns is not the squeaky clean guy that you're trying to make him out to be.
Well, we're not talking about
John Cena is.
Yeah, that we know of.
Well, okay,
that we know, and we do know other things about John Cena, but we can move on about that.
Listen, I'm no John Cena cheerleader. I never will be.
Seems like you are.
I will say fooled me. I'm starting to respect John Cena a little bit because he's setting straight a punk like Roman Reigns. Because Roman Reigns is starting to feel himself a little too much, and he needs to dial that stuff back and realize
this is you
he hasn't accomplished enough to be talking mess.
This is you doing mental gymnastics to cover the fact that this is same old Vince. Roman makes the most money for the company. His stock and his cachet goes up. Now you're going to clip his little wings in case he wakes up one day and realizes that he's the franchise. I don't know what Vince has on Cena because Cena never realized it, and what little sweetheart deal they have on there, and if he's taking nude photographs for Vince, I don't know what he's doing, okay? But he's the reason that the lights are still on at the WWE. And, you know, let's say he wakes up one day and I says, I want stock options or I'm going to walk. I want more money. So what are they going to do? He's going to bring in Vince is going to bring in his little hit squad, Triple H and Cena, and they're going to undo this guy, unravel everything he's brought into WWE for the benefit of everybody?
This is the second week in a row. You started this with Baron Corbin, and now you're bringing it to Roman Reigns. This is the second week in a row where you've disparaged John Cena, and more importantly, you disparaged my friend Vince McMahon for these young punks.
Listen, if Cena wants to live his life as a lackey of Vince McMahon rather than being a professional wrestler, which is his job, that's up to him to do it. But you know what? The fans shouldn't put up with it. And it makes absolutely no sense because it's just Vince's vindictiveness. Right. And you constantly defend it over and over and over again. And I just hope that someday you'll learn and you'll understand how stupid you've been. You've been a stupid idiot, as my friend John McCain likes to say.
You know what's going to be even more stupid? When John Cena beats Roman Reigns at the next pay-per-view.
Because that's going to be a big surprise.
Because Roman should have never been in the match in the first place.
Yeah, because who's writing that script? Yeah, who's setting up that
script?
Yeah, you wish.
I'm writing that script.
You wish.
Okay?
You and your buddies, because you're all thinking the same thing and drinking the same Kool-Aid.
Yeah, whatever. Shout out to our man, Sean Reed, for joining us today.
There's a man who knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, unlike you. Listen, Thank you, folks, for listening this week. Head over to Facebook, head over to Twitter, type in Duke Loves Rasslin. Let me know what you think of the show. I got to get out of here because the Boston Bad Boys disrespecting Vince McMahon and John Cena. I don't understand it.
Well, do you need to go to your safe space?
John Cena is
Vince?
a local guy.
Oh, good for him.
Show him respect.
Oh, please.
West Newbury, Massachusetts.
You know
the mean streets of West Newbury.
Why doesn't he show the people who make dungarees a little respect and get a new pair?
Stop it with the dungarees.
And get something